After the trials and tribulations of Miami, the drivers are still neck and neck in both championships as they head to the dangers. That is Mount Panorama, and you're seeing the Forest Elbow right there as we get ready for round 8 of the IMSA Vintage series here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'm done. My name is Craig King, and joining me in the booth today is our director, Daniel Costello, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. It's the ultimate track in Australia. It's a street circuit that you forget it's a street circuit. To find out more about the legendary Mount Panorama, we go to our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrod Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock's Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today.
Well, that's the track guide by Joe Peak, and we'll just quickly rattle off the standings as we've got a bit of time left here. Gabriel Martinez and Jacob Reed locked in a tight battle. And then you can see for the rest, Elena Jack and Aloma. I know Aloma for a while, so just looks like Elena Jack in a battle for his own right there. For third, Yuko Lesko's got a chance as well. So is Andre Felipe Diaz, Emerson Gordon, and Lal Stolson. Very tight just for that final podium spot, it feels like, in the GTPs. The GTOs, that's a little bit more tighter. Yoni Hagden leads from Van Valenteus and Cao Young. Valenteus doesn't lead because he's already served his drop week, because he's not turned out for a couple of weeks. It's the simplest way. Cao Young still got a chance there. Milo Dechari, very surprising there. Could there be a GTO Lights driver winning the championship? We don't know. We've got to wait until the end of the season. You can see it's very close for the rest of it, though. Very tight GTO championship. Well, as qualifying's just ending up, just to let you know, of course, it's a 40-minute race. And it will be a very interesting 40 minutes around here for the drivers. They're just finishing up qualifying with 40 seconds to go. Most of the drivers already set their laps, as some of them either just getting the last ones in or not needing to. You can see the standings right there. It's always good just there on the timing tower. Doesn't need to overcomplicate things. Martinez leading from Yuko Lesko. No Jacob Reed today. Some drivers will be away due to well, it's the Indy 500 weekend. It must be May, so it's Indy 500 for the fortnight, and that's going to be interesting. As Gabby Vasquez will be coming around just to won't be able to set a time as they go over the hill, and now they hit into McPhillamy as they come down to the legendary Skyline. Qualifying is going to be ending, and we can go over the 18 GTPs and 22 GTOs. So as you saw in the timing, Gabriel Martinez was pole for the GTPs with Yuko Leskola in P2. And then it's going to be John Swartz with a surprise there in third, and Christoph Lenajak in fourth. Seamus Power will be fifth, and Josephine Becker, only one lap, ended up backwards out of the chase. On a second lap, she'll be sixth. Brendan Lim, seventh, and Laus Olsen in eighth. Pascal Werstein will be in ninth, and Forbes Marshall will take out 10th, and then Ray Oliver will be in 11th with Sander Babruga in 12th. Andrew Blackman will take the unlucky 13th, and Ty Nielsen 14th. Laura Miser will be the last of the time qualifiers, which means Jacob Reed is here and didn't set a lap time. I thought he was away in Indy 500 duty. He'll be starting 16th. Lance Simon 17th, and Ben Summers will be 18th. Can the GTOs match that? Well, it's a little bit different there. Noel Lundberg will be your pole sitter for the GTOs with Valenteas in P2. Yoni Hagner will be third with Mickey Friesen in fourth. Then it's Ilka Cottasalo and Josh Brain for row 3. Roman Bello will be 7th, and Sebastian Steindow will be in 8th. Then Emilio Dicciari 9th, and Stephanie Leslie in 10th. That leads us to Shadi Ahmad in 11th and Brandon White in 12th. Franco Scurry will take the unlucky 13th, and Yannick Carpentier will be 14th. Sagalski Thibault will take 15th, and Gabby Vasquez will take 16th. Then Joeyas Curiel 17th. Artem Biskov will be the last of the time qualifiers in 18th, which means Foreman Pollock 19th. Mike Baston in 20th. And then just a couple more. Max Anaya 21st, and Moses Alejandro in 22nd. Apologies for some of the pronunciations on those names. I will get those right. I do apologize. As drivers getting ready for 40 minutes around here, and it will be a very interesting one with Gabriel Martinez almost a second faster than everybody else in qualifying, because no Jacob Reed is there. Is the legendary Mount Panorama sign, and there's the car park. It's going to be a very interesting thing to see what Reed can do off the start here, as Martinez putting a little bit of a burnout out there, as getting ready for 40 minutes around what is the quintessential Australian racetrack. What gap do the GTOs usually lead? Just a few seconds, of course, as they're just starting to get themselves going, but got to be careful because literally Gabriel Martinez is just coming through the chase, and I think Noah is just trying to play it a little bit careful here, but they're going to be between the chase and Murray's corner for the starters. Gabriel Martinez will be controlling the pace here for 40 minutes around Mount Panorama for the IMSA Vintage Series. Round 8 is green, 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 and Martinez gets to jump, and because it's an early start-finish line on the straight, manages to just catch everyone napping a little bit. There is a small side-by-side in the background as Brendan Lim trying to get around Josephine Becker, but to no avail. And they all come around into single file in the GTOs. They're just coming by. Valenteas going to try and go around the outside of Hell Corner on Noel Lundberg and actually makes that stick. Stephanie Leslie's already had a moment. It's the GTP, are just going up the hill, and look at them, they're almost two abreast there as they're going through. The bump drop from Yoni Hagner is going to cause Valenteas to be a little bit out of position here, and that run he had at the start, well, no longer got it, and he's now having to work his way back up as the GTPs hit through this thing, and there's a big moment at the down at the bottom of the hill, and Franco Scurry's going the wrong way. No, Franco, you've got to wait for your moment there. You can be at the back there to back. I think Joseph Courier also in the pits as well. So just a couple moments to start the race to get your heart going there. Remember, it's a live track. Don't drive across the track right away. As Jacob Reed having to do the last of first into the big crash in front of him. 5 cars, 6 cars. In fact, what of them, they're still going. Oh, the GTPs, they are not slowing down. There's yellow flags for a reason, boys and girls. Nobody's slowing down. This is absolute carnage. Who's to hit the toe? Brandon Lim, Forbes Marshall, Jacob Reed, Elena Jack, Seamus Power, now Josephine Becker, all into the pit. You've got an absolutely damaged car there that is still trying to drive for Santa Verbrugge. John Swartz as well with a meatball flag. I think half the field just got taken out at the Forest Elbow. Wow. We'll have to get a look to see exactly what happened there. But that was an absolute crazy moment. And I'm not entirely sure what started it, but I believe it actually happened at the start of the lap. And it was actually Leskola losing the car through the Forest Elbow. She got a little bit of a bump. John Swartz then tried to get behind him, and then out with no speed, we got another spinner there, trying to get back to the pit lane the wrong way. John Swartz tries to get around him, but is very slow. And when I say very slow, he's not even 100 kilometers an hour, as Elena Jack is coming around Forest Elba 146 kilometers an hour, and it just sets off an entire chain reaction. And some drivers will say, well, that's Leskala for rejoining the track. Leskala was just trying to get momentum, and at the moment he hit the wall, the car's veering across the track. Nothing he can do here. He's had another moment. Here it is. Now watch John Swartz here. Now John, there's them here. Leskala's got nowhere to go, and John goes the other way. And because he goes the other way, carnage ensues. There's Josephine. Got no time to react to that. Brendan Lim tries to avoid it, hits the wall, heavy damage there. John still spinning because the brakes are not fully locked, then starts rolling again, but everyone's trying to avoid him. And then look, no one's getting the yellow flags. No one's slowing down looking at the relative. I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but there's a relative, and you've got to pay attention. We are down to 10 drivers because Yuko Leskala has hit the wall for a second time. He had to hit the Forest Elbow for a second time, and he's had now meatball damage, and that was, well, for those of IMSA Vintage know of a certain race around a certain track in Italy that we don't talk about. Well, unfortunately, I think that's up there in terms of what just happened, and with no offense, that's the front of the field. That's a lot of drivers. So that is so unfortunate there. John Swartz has a damaged car and is still trying to drive it around. So he's trying to get as much as he can, but that car is very slow as we get back to what is now basically going to be the main battle of the race. Yoni Hagner still trying to catch up to, well, trying to put pressure on Valenteus, and Valenteus puts the car to the middle of the track. We'll have to go around the outside of Griffin's Bend. And tries it. Can't make it stick, but lots of meatball flags. Let's look at this. This is what happened to Leskala. He actually did get driving again after that first hit, but again, lock up there. And I've driven a prototype around here, a modern day prototype. If you go too late on the braking there for the Forest Elbow, there is a bump. And when prototypes, they run so low down to the field. But John Swartz, please get off the track. I hate to be that rude, but your car is damaged and you're going slower than everybody else. It is a bit of a hazard right now. When you're a prototype, you're low down to the ground. You brake too late. You hit that bump on Forest Elbow, and unfortunately, well, you've got nowhere to go because the car will lock up because you bottom out the car. So eyes on that, because that could be a very interesting moment out there, because now Gabri's got a mammoth 14-second lead, but the GTO leaders, they are all tucked in together, and these three have started to pull ahead of everybody. And I think a lot of that is due to trying to navigate the broken John Swartz car out there, who's still trying to get a bit of a drive around right now, as Valenteus is going to look for the run here on Noel Luneberg. Noel will try and do this and defend this around the outside of the chase, and credit due, there is still a little bit of an overlap there, but Valenteus will set that off. And well, this is, I mean, this is championship implications. I know that sounds crazy, but for the GTOs, this is absolute implications now for the championship, because when you look at the weekly points and you look at what Jacob Reed's done, this is now another drop week for Jacob Reed, which means that he may have to carry 10 points to the rest of the race. And now these three going to try and look again, as Noel Lundberg will just hold on Valenteus there, as Yoni Hackman tried to do the same thing as lap one again and try to give him a bump draft, and does not work. Whew, well, we'll catch our breath after that very chaotic first two laps. And well, the GTOs, give them credit, the GTOs have been keeping this very clean out there for the moment. I'm knocking on wood, but yeah, we have lost, we're down to 10 drivers in the GTP field, and realistically it's 9 drivers, with John Swartz driving around very damaged. Here's Ilka Costa-Salo though. Yeah, Swartz now into the pits. Ilka Costa-Salo will be driving around, battling Mickey Friesen, and he needs to put the pressure on Friesen But one thing Cotasalo also needs to do is to pick the opportunity to make moves, because if he doesn't, they're going to be losing more time to those leaders. And Breezen's only a second and a half behind Joni Hagner, so they can get back here. Even if Ilka decides, hey, let's do a little bit of a bump draft, and these guys may want to do that as well. Staying down right there, trying to catch up to Roman Bello, and not a name we usually see, Sebastian. So first time out here for a while, it feels like. And never see Sebastian, but he has got some IMSA Vintage decals on his car. So again, part of the community, join into the community and get some of those decals. Is late braking there, but holds on to it as drivers come on by. The GTP field, I would love to say there's a lot going on in the GTP field. They're absolutely spread out right now, as Gabriel Martinez has gone through some of the first traffic. Gabi Vasquez, another towed car in the GTOs, just having a moment. I believe that was coming off the mountain. As we go back to the leaders of the GTOs, and we're going to see some more moves. It's interesting. We're lap 5 with 31 minutes left in the race, and Valente is giving a little bit of the serpentine out there today. So very early days to be looking at the serpentine. Let's have a quick look at the replay here. This is Gabi Vasquez, and what happens to Gabi here? Comes over the hill. Oh, too hard. Solman Park, that is Solman Park. The car just understeered hard into Solman Park. Now, in modern day cars, modern day GTs, you can do a little bit of a lift there, but usually it's flat out. And these are modern GTs. These are old school. So you have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to what the cars do, and believe that's what's happened there. Ray Oliver is well now. The Australians just had a moment in the GTPs, and he was actually running P4. He was actually having a real good time there. He's had a moment earlier in the lap. I think he hit the wall about the same. Well, he's been battling with damage for quite a while, to be fair. Who hasn't been battling with damage out there? Is that's basically just going to be the name of the game for the GTPs. It's role reversal today. Usually we joke the GTOs, they're in survival mode, but for the GTPs today, it's survival mode for them, as I think a lot of these GTP drivers are actually getting repairs done to see where they can go. But I know Jacob Reed has retired. I think Josephine Becker's also retired. Yeah, Josephine has retired as well. Don't think anybody else from the GTPs has officially retired. They're sitting in the paddock waiting to see what they can do, as Joni Hagner's wondering what he can do. And if Noel Lumberg gets another good run out of Hell Corner here, will he do the bump drafting once again? Time will tell. And I think it's the fact that that Joni can't actually catch up right now, despite he's got the fastest lap. Not really got a way that he can catch up, and now comes that slipstream. He starts to catch up, and Noel Lumberg's going to look to go around the outside here of Griffins, but with the way Griffins is, there's a little bit of camber, so you want to make sure you hit that camber on the inside, and that allowed Joni to just catch up to him for a second there, but to no avail, because you don't really want to be making moves out there to be that aggressive. As Ben Summers, the last car, still driving. And when I say that last car who did not get caught in that crash, I think he checked up for the big wreck, and he's still out there, but he's trying to find 23 seconds right now. He's just trying to drive around the traffic, make sure he's keeping it safe out there. There's Brandon White as well. So you think about it now, we've only got 9 drivers in the GTPs. We're down to, just looking there, I think we've only lost 4 drivers in the GTOs from the 21. 2 of them did take some repairs out there, and they're back out there, as Joyous Curiel, the latest driver to have an incident out there, and Fulton Pollock's in the pits as well. So still catching drivers out here, as the mountain, that is Mount Panorama, just catching, and that is the corner people don't like. Well, they don't like it to crash. Skyline. Tough as Brandon White. Continuing this battle with James Carpentier here, which is basically a GTO lights battle. I haven't talked a lot about the junior divisions this year, or this season. I always say year, not season. I do apologize. For this season, we don't talk about a lot about the juniors, but always nice. Sebastian staying down, battling on with Roman Bello, trying to put pressure on. Goes too far. You have Shadi Ahmad right behind him, as we look on. I was just getting onto those juniors. Emilio Dechara, as I was saying, leading that championship. Brandon White behind him. Forbin Pollock 3 points behind Brandon White. So still a lot of time in there as well. I think Ray Oliver's had another spin there. That's not the place to be. Ray, that's not the place to be. And Ty Nielsen has had to take a tow as well. Now, has Ty hit him? Or is that an absolutely separate moment? It's an absolutely separate moment as Ray Oliver was spun out. Actually, was it Ray hitting Ty there for a moment? No. Ty spins. Ray gets hit. Well, that's a weird one. We'll have to look at a replay there because it's one of those. I have the voice of radio, ladies and gentlemen, but there's a lot of things you can't describe unless you have pictures. But Ty Nielsen damaged, hit the road, and rebounded and hit Ray Oliver. I'm not entirely sure how that's any other way to do it, but we'll have a look at the GSRC replay right now as here comes Ray. And remember, Ray's from Australia, so there's going to be a lot of latency. And he just gets hit. So, again, I believe we're in the American service today. And, of course, Australia, Japan, if you're used to seeing Toga Hisada, you know the netcode that unfortunately happens for having been that far away. I don't want to actually say what it is, but very interesting. Sebastian Samdow as well, also just into the pits as well. And, oh, he got caught up by traffic. He got caught up by traffic big time. In fact, there was a big moment between Robin Bello and Forbin Pollock, and then Sebastian's trying to avoid them. Sebastian finds nowhere to go, and he just finds the same moment. So everyone's just getting caught out here at the moment. Very dangerous track at the moment. And, well, this isn't a track for multi-class, and normally the IMSA Vintage drivers can show that a little bit chaotic, but you can make it work for multi-class. Today, at the moment, it's not going that way, as Ben Summers still battling here in 7th position. Has got Lance Simon in front of him, but when you look at it, Ben Summers now officially in 7th. That also means Valenteus will get it. Well, whoever wins the GTOs will be a top 10 finisher today. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but that's the nature of the race as Lumberg continues. And look at the lap times the last time by. Valenteus, a 2:01.4. There's Gabri. It was a 2:01.1 for Noah and a 2:01.5 for Yoni. As Gabri is just having a Saturday drive. Caught the leaders, Saturday drive, playing it safe. And I think this is why, because he's 40, almost 15 seconds ahead of the next traffic. He's not having to go aggressive now. Again, we go back to the whole Ayrton Senna thing. Well, that's very brave to make a move into Forest Delvo, but got that still stuck, and very well done there, but has hindered Noel Lumberg a little bit there. It won't be happy too much, but return the favour with a little bit of slipstream, but Valenteus might just be starting to pull away from Lumberg. But we say that old Ayrton Senna moment at Monaco, you never tell a driver to go slow. You just tell them to do your normal thing, and Gabri just going to have to keep it patient now around traffic. And I think that's what he's doing is, well, that's a spinner. That's 2 cars that spun off there. I thought it was 2 cars. No, it was 1 car. I thought there was a red car. It was the red tire barrier. That was Alejandro Venezuelan just taking a bit too much speed into the chase. And, well, the steering wheel said turn left. The front of the car said no. And the rear of the car said you're going around for a ride. And unfortunately for Alejandro, that's not what he wants to do, as now GTOs are giving us battles everywhere. So we're looking at a lot of this GTO field at the moment. By the way, Ringmeisters coming up next week. If you want to give this car a go, the Ringmeister series will be back with the Audi GTOs next week. And I know that's a little bit of a popular week for some of the drivers. So be interesting to see new people who are, as they say, ringmasters at the Nürburgring, giving that a go next week. And some of these drivers will just be getting their time in, getting their seat time. As Milo Dechari, real big run there, because there's a lot of damage on the back of Roman Bello's car and on the front. As Milo's wearing, I thought that was a shirt with some gold cotton balls on it, almost like a Christmas jumper. No, that was the sunlight coming through his window. There it is. I thought that was the shirt for a moment. I had a quick glance at it, and I thought that was his shirt. No, that's actually just the sunlight reflecting in. And how do you drive like that? Because that's got to be really bad when the sun's at the right angle of the day. I've got to be brutally honest. Pascal Weirstein almost hitting the wall there. He's going to get a very surprising P2 here. And I could look up the stats, but as far as I'm aware, Pascal's never had a podium on broadcast. So that's going to be very good to see for him. And these two are still having a little scrap, but look at the smartness here as Pascal's going to come beside them with the... Now, people are going to ask what this livery is. This is the... I can't remember his name. The name has gone the tip of my tongue. It's the man on Trading Paints who makes the Pathfinder paints for cars on iRacing. And before he did that, he did this version, which was lines, and then the wings would be upper. And some people actually raced it for a bit of a laugh. And I think they're fantastic when you're making paints. But he's not making paints right now. He's making positions. He's up 7 positions today, as he's now having to try and navigate the leaders. And I wonder if he'll just play this safe here because he's in his own little battle as Laus Olsen's trying to catch up to him. This is how treacherous it is. Where do you make the move here? No. If I'm a prototype, I'm not making that move through Quarry, but that's what he's decided. And now up into Reed and the Frog Hollow. Now Solman, now McPhillamy does get it by. Just one questionable move there, but at the same time, when you're a prototype driver, you want to get going. And I think that was a lot of it. Wanted to get going as Yoni and Noel just trying to catch up to the back of Valenteus. That's not going to help them right now, as now Valenteus ahead of them in the slipstream. But multiclass does give and multiclass does take, unfortunately. So wait and see exactly what we see. Now with Yoni Hagner, Gabriel Martinez, I mean, you probably see a lot of purple. Palanteas wins. Joni Hagner as well could not hold up with them, and he will be in third. Mickey Friesen finishes in fourth. And then it's Josh Brain in fifth. Ilka Costa-Stalo sixth. Shadi and Mad will finish in seventh, up 4 places today. Hardest charger, actually. You look at that. Brandon White will be, Milo Dechari will be 8th. Brandon White 9th. James Carpentier will be in 10th. And then it's Suagi Tibor in 11th, with Romain Bello in 12th. Sebastian Saimdow will be 13th, and Franco Scurri 14th. Gabby Vasquez did get back out after that incident in 15th, and then the retirees. Max Anaya will be in 16th. Stephanie Leslie did get back out there, but it just wasn't enough. Retired in 17th. Forbin Pollock 18th. Artem Biskov 19th. Moises Alejandro will be in 20th. And the last two on the next page is Joas Creel and Mike Bastin, who round out the rest of the field. Well, we do have one interview at the moment, and we will talk to Emilio Dechari. As Emilio, it looks a very tough race out there today for you. It's Bathurst is not exactly the easiest of tracks, and it looked like you had to do a bit of survival out there.
Yeah. Hello, Craig. Hello, guys. Yeah, no, not the easiest race because tough circuit for sure. But I have the luck, and I was not involved in any chaos and was here today. So I'm happy because it's a P8 and I didn't expect it. I didn't expect a top 10 today. So great points for the overall championship and also for the junior championship. So I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, I think you were the best placed junior driver out there for the GTOs, which is great for that championship for you. Out there today, I usually talk about the traffic. It was a little bit topsy-turvy there today after lap 1. Not a lot of GTP traffic to deal with, but it felt like a lot of GTO traffic you had to deal with. How was it out there today for an unusual IMSA Vintage?
Yeah, for sure. I was very surprised because not many GTP, as you say, but yeah, many GTOs have many problems. In one lap, I went with Torben and with other guys, and I didn't expect that it will happen. But yeah, I have only one moment, and I see a GTP across the track, and I have to brake so bad for try to not hit. And yeah, was the usual race time we probably see here in Bathurst, but. As I say, I was very lucky to didn't get involved in any problem today, so I'm happy because it's really important for that.
It's important. I mean, I got to ask, how do you cope driving with the sun like that? Because every time we saw the sunlight or light going through, and I know you've got sun protection there, but now it's starting to show again. Is that an interference? That looks very annoying to drive with.
It's not normal at this time because it was very cloudy today here in my town, and yeah, I didn't expect it. I have another way to cover the window, but today I said no, it's closed. It's gonna be a problem, and yeah, I got some flash on my view today, so it was a bit frustrating, but not enough to unfocus about the race.
I think that would have been the worst thing around the mountain today, but you got around the P8 overall. Good for the Junior Championship. Milo, we'll look forward to seeing you next week at Lime Rock.
Thank you, guys, and yeah, for sure. We will there. We will
be there. Thank you. Milo Dechari finishing in 8th today. And just seeing if anyone's going to be knocking on the door. I don't think so. Actually, Lars Olsen just comes in at the last moment, and we've got to give some love to Lars Olsen finishing in 2nd. And Lars, I think there's only one question to start with. Lap 1. Talk me through it.
Hello, I can't hear.
Oh, hello. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Lars, we were just saying, lap 1, talk us through it.
Oh, that was chaos. Beyond normal IMSA Vintage chaos. I tried to slow down and tiptoe through the parked GTPs. Almost managed, but also got hit a couple of times from behind. Not many were not good to slow down. So I think that that cost a lot of virtual money in repairs. Luckily, I didn't get any damage, so I could continue. I think I was in 4th place or 3rd place to start with, and then the people in front also, dropped off, probably due to accidents.
It was there was a lot of accidents happening out there, definitely, and you're one of the only cars that kept yourself clean. Only 2 cars on the lead lap. You're one of them. As you said, the accidents were happening around you, which also meant that you had to deal with lap GTO traffic and then lap GTP traffic. Bathurst is always a little bit chaotic for multi-class. How was it for you today, being everything was with no, in all due respect, there wasn't anyone you were fighting around you. You were just lapping around GTO traffic today.
Yeah, for most of the time, I tried to be patient and not force the issue, but I had a couple of badly timed passes on the GTOs, which where I should have held back. I think Ilka was one of the victims, but otherwise I didn't have many problems with the traffic. It's when you're alone and don't have any pressures from behind, and you don't seem to be able to catch up to those in front, then you can take it a bit more relaxed, and it makes life a lot easier.
Well, we got to talk about next week. It is Lime Rock. We know what Lime Rock is going to be. Added factor that it could be raining. What are your thoughts about that?
That's going to be interesting. I must admit, I'm not a big fan of rain, and that's way back from when I was racing go-karts. Also, driving on a dry track, that I loved that, but the rain, I was never good at it, and I'm afraid it's the same in the sim. So that's going to be interesting, and probably also will cause some more carnage than or chaos than normally, because I guess I'm not the only one that will be challenged in the rain.
No, I think it's going to be the level playing field for everybody. Laus, congratulations, back on the podium. Probably not the way you expected it, but we look forward to hopefully seeing you next week at Lime Rock.
I'll be there. Thank you.
Laus Stolsen, P2 for the day, and that's going to be it for us. So apologies once again for the technical hiccups out there today, but a thank you to the community for bringing us back once again, and a thank you to Daniel for basically running around, probably like the GIF from the IT show. If you know, you know. And of course, Dougie as well, providing the cameras. Didn't need to worry too much. Next week, as I said, will be Lime Rockin'. Well, there is a forecasted chance of rain. I'm not saying anything. That's all I'm saying. It could be that, but it's the classic layout. We all know what Lime Rock can bring, so do look forward to that. There are also other races coming up, especially tomorrow. The Lotus 79s will be here at Spa, and I think that might have a little bit of rain. I'm not entirely sure. Then we get back to racing for next week. Skip Barbers at Charlotte Roval. That's got a chance of rain. Who likes rain? Grand Prix Legends at Interlagos. I don't think there's rain on that. And IMSA Vintage we just talked about. Well, I could talk about the famous lines from Macau, but I think Laus said it. Millions and millions of sim racer dollars ruined today. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.
This is iRacing.